India is creating world record every day in the number of new coronavirus cases. On 30th of April, this figure crossed the 4 lakh mark. The entire healthcare system is overwhelmed. There is shortage of ICU beds, shortage of oxygen. People are not able to find beds. The doctors and the medical staff are overly stressed. While the media talks about all these issues, there is a silent problem that's happening beneath the surface. What is it? It's a financial burden which people have to go through because of this unforeseen medical expenditure. Families that are affected by the COVID-19 disease are pushed to take debts to manage the medical expenditure, or in some cases, they lose the majority of their life's savings. How to manage such a huge financial burden? The best way and the only way is having a health insurance policy. So in this video we will talk about health insurance policy for COVID-19. While we have spoken about how to take a right health insurance policy in one of our previous videos, we will focus specifically on the medical expenditure related to COVID-19 and what policies, any additional policies that we need to take. In this video, we have specifically discussed 4 questions. Number 1, what type of health insurance should we take for COVID-19? Number 2, are there any exclusive health insurance plans for COVID-19? Number 3, you might already have health insurance plan. Will your policy really cover the COVID-19 expenses? Should you need to take any additional policy? Number 4, every family is different, and depending on the family's needs, they may need a different type of policy. So what is the best policy suitable for an individual or his or her family? So this is what we are going to discuss in today's video. Welcome back to Intelligent Indian. The objective of our channel is to explain complex topics in the most simple manner possible. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please consider subscribing to it. Now let's answer the questions. Number 1, I already have a health insurance plan. Will my policy cover COVID-19 expenses? The short answer is yes, but there are some conditions to it. If you take any health insurance policy, it comes with a set of exclusions. Some of the expenses may not get covered, and in case of COVID-19, they could be huge. For example, the PPE kits. So the PPE kits comprise some of the major components in the medical expenditure of COVID-19 disease. Majority of the health insurance policies do not cover the PPE kit, masks, and the gloves because these come under the category of consumables. Some policies, not all policies, some policies have daily limits on the ICUs or the room rent. So if the room rent or the ICU expense happen to go above a certain limit, then the patient have to pay from his pocket. How do you manage such issues? How can you get all this covered? Are there any exclusive COVID-19 medical insurance plans? Yes. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India mandated the companies to sell 2 types of COVID-19 specific health insurance policies. One is Corona Kavach, the other one is Corona Rakshak. All companies that are selling health insurance policies must launch the Corona Kavach, and it is optional for companies to launch Corona Rakshak. Now let's understand these 2 policies in detail and let's compare them. Number 1, what is the eligibility? So the eligibility for both the policies is 18 to 65 years. But the Corona Kavach policy allows you to take a family floater in which you can cover your children who are below the age of 18 years. Number 2, what is the condition for it to be claimed? In Corona Kavach and in Corona Rakshak, there needs to be a COVID positive report from a government authorized lab. The second condition is in Corona Kavach, you must have been hospitalized for a minimum period of 24 hours, whereas in Corona Rakshak, there must be at least 72 hours of continuous hospitalization. If you look at the policy period, it's slightly different. These are short-term policies. A traditional health insurance policy usually comes for 1 year, whereas this Corona Kavach and Rakshak policies comes for 3.5 months, 6.5 months, or 9.5 months. So you might wonder, what is this 3.5 months? Why not 3 months or 4 months, right? So this 0.5 months or 15 days is for the waiting period. That is, if you are taking a policy today on 2nd of May till 16th of May, if you get tested positive for COVID, you will not be covered with the expenses. You are eligible to reimburse your expenses only if you get a COVID positive report after 16th of May. Next, what are the plan types? So Corona Kavach is an indemnity plan. What do you mean by indemnity plan? It means that the actual hospital bill gets reimbursed subject to your total coverage and the exclusions. Whereas Corona Rakshak is a lump sum plan, irrespective of how much your hospital expenses. It can be 10,000 or it can be 10 lakhs. The 100% of the sum assured is paid to the person who has taken the policy. If you look at the coverage amount, it starts from 50,000 and it goes up to 5 lakh in terms of in case of Corona Kavach. But you cannot take the policy for 70,000 or 80,000. It's in only in multiples of 50,000. You can take 50,000, 1 lakh, 1.5 lakhs, up to 5 lakhs. In case of Corona Rakshak, it's from 50,000 to 2.5 lakhs. The premium, if you look at the premium, Corona Rakshak policies are slightly costlier because of the lump sum payment which they make. If you look at the policy features, as we already discussed, Corona Rakshak is a lump sum payment. So you may not have a detailed policy features, whereas you come to Corona Kavach, these are the coverage aspects. One, your hospitalization, including the room rent, doctor fees, medicines, oxygen, tests, everything is covered. Most importantly, the PPE kits, masks, and gloves are also covered. The pre-hospitalization charges of for a period of 15 days and post-hospitalization for a period of 30 days is covered. Not only this, if in case a concerned patient has a comorbid condition such as diabetes or hypertension, and when the patient is taking treatment in the hospital for COVID-19, he also has to take treatment for diabetes. Those treatment expenses are also covered in these. In addition, ambulance charges are covered, OIS treatment is covered, home care treatment is also covered in some cases with some conditions. As an optional feature, some policies provide hospital cash up to the tune of 0.5% of the total insured amount. Now, you might have a good idea about Corona Kavach and Corona Rakshak. So, what should we do? You have three options. Option 1, you take Corona Kavach. Option 2, you take Corona Rakshak. Option 3, you have a comprehensive policy covering all the diseases that includes COVID-19. So we have drawn a decision tree to help you make this decision easier. First, the question is, do you have a comprehensive health insurance policy? If the answer is no, please do take a Corona Kavach policy immediately, and having a Corona Rakshak policy is optional in this case. If in case you already have a health insurance plan, then the second question we ask is, what is the type of plan? Does it have any sublimits? Or what is the coverage amount? Is it low or high? Are you a senior citizen? Do you have any other comorbid conditions? Does it have restoration benefit? If your policy doesn't have any of these features, it's better to go ahead with Corona Kavach policy in addition to your existing policy. You will understand why we are saying this in the course of the video. If you have a good health insurance plan that has restoration benefit, a good coverage, and if you don't have any comorbid conditions, you can choose to go with Corona Rakshak policy that would help you manage the financial burden of COVID-19. Now, let us look at the important policy features that you need to consider before buying any policy, specifically in terms of COVID-19. First one is the cashless reimbursement. The policy that you are taking must have a huge network of hospitals that provide the cashless reimbursement facility. Why are we saying so? Let's understand from this example. Let's say an individual has a hospital expense of 4 lakh. In case of a cashless reimbursement, the individual does not have to pay anything from his pocket. The company directly transfers the money to the hospital. Whereas if there is no cashless reimbursement, first the patient needs to pay the hospital. He will have to get the money from his savings or through loan paid and then get it reimbursed from the insurance company. It's a cumbersome process, and hence if you are going ahead with any policy, be it Corona Kavach or anything, it's better to look at the network of the hospitals in your particular city for the cashless coverage and then go ahead with such policies. The second one, individual cover or family floater. Let's understand this from an example, right? Let's say a family has a 10 lakh of family floater cover where four members are covered. In case of other diseases, the probability of all the individuals having the same ailment is very very low. Say for instance, one individual is having a disease and a 6 lakh of expenditure is already incurred, right? The other family members may not get the same disease and the probability is very very low and they are relatively safe Whereas in case of COVID-19, it's highly infectious and transmitted easily to all the family members. You might have heard from your friends and family circle. If one individual in a family gets it, almost all the individuals in the family are infected. So it's better to go ahead with individual cover in case of if you're going ahead with a comprehensive medical insurance policy. If you're going with Corona Kavach, it's better to go with the individual cover. But if you have a child that whose age is below 18 years, Corona Kavach individual policy doesn't cover. So you can go ahead with the family floater and you can take up Corona Rakshak on top of it. Otherwise, the alternate option is to take a comprehensive medical insurance policy with a huge cover, say above 30 lakhs or above 50 lakhs, right? 3. Sublimits. You might have heard about sublimits, right? Some policies have a sublimit in terms of daily ICU expenses or daily room rent. It's better to go ahead with policies that doesn't have sublimits. Why are we saying so? If you look at the COVID-19 disease medical expenditure, you can see that many people are requiring ICU, people require oxygen, some people require ventilator. The cost of the drug remdesivir and tocilizumab is very expensive, and PPE kits are also very expensive. In this case, if you are going ahead with a policy that has sublimits, you may end up in a scenario where you pay up a majority of the expense from your pocket. So it's better to find a policy that doesn't have sublimits. If you're going ahead with Corona Coverage, it does not have any sublimits on ICU or room rent. Number 4, restoration benefit. This is not applicable for Corona Kavach or Rakshak. If you are going ahead with a comprehensive medical insurance policy, you must have a restoration benefit. Why are we saying so? Let's first understand what is a restoration benefit. Let us say an individual has a cover of 10 lakh rupees, and because of a COVID-19 episode, 4 lakh of expenditure is already exhausted. So the remaining amount is only 6 lakh, right? In case of a restoration benefit, the remaining 4 lakh will automatically be restored within the policy period. So the remaining 4 lakh amount will be available for any other medical expenditure other than COVID-19. So this helps individuals in managing other medical expenditures, right? So it's better to take a policy with a restoration benefit, or if you have a medical insurance policy, take a Corona coverage over and above it. Now I hope you would have understood the decision tree. Now what should we buy and where should we buy? Right? All the companies selling health insurance plans have Corona coverage, and some companies offer Rakshak as well. How to choose? You need to compare the premium. As we said, you need to look at the cashless hospital network, the claim settlement ratio, the services feedback, and by the right policy from the right insurer. Right? For everyone, it depends. You're depending on your location and the service that you are requiring and your budget. You may have to go ahead with different insurers. We are not recommending any particular insurer in this video. To summarize, uh, do you have a comprehensive health insurance plans? If no, please take Corona Kavach and optional Corona Rakshak. If you have a health insurance plan and if it doesn't have a restoration benefit, or if the coverage amount is low, or you already have other comorbidities, it's better to go ahead with Corona Kavach. If you have a very good health insurance policy with restoration benefit and no sublimits, you can buy a Corona Rakshak as a top up to it. Now, please understand that a health insurance plan is very important in these days. Why? Because your relatives might be fighting hard to take care of the patients. You don't want to put an additional burden of the getting the money for medical expenditure. That causes significant stress, and in fact, some of the family members may also get affected, right? So you don't want to put them in such a scenario, and just focus only on the health part of it. I hope you would have liked this video. If you find this video useful, please share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.